All right, after that quick break and not going to and not taking the trip last week, this week yeah, I will be taking that trip down and start heading, making my way to the airport. Got everything I need. I'm slightly overweight, but that will probably go down as I walk, as I'll simply start eating food. And those of you who are stuck and weighted down someplace and you're carrying food, that's actually the first thing you should do in weight management. Get rid of some of the food by eating it. Now, okay, it's snowing, but it's not too cold. Alright, let's see. What am I got the bow and my rifle. Now, moving in snow, snow like this where it's coming down pretty thick but not windy, it really depends on how you're trying to get there and what kind of directions you're using. As far as directions go, right now I'm doing the smart thing and I'm following both the power line and the train tracks, which you will often find power line running the train tracks. Um, Even if you don't see it, there's oftentimes a bunch of wires running near your track, near the tracks near you, because it's really easy to lay cable along a train track. You just run a train along there and unspool it. You dig a trench, you cover it up, and you're good. It works the same with overhead. It makes it easier because you can literally hang a spool off the side of a train and unroll it. And then if you have flatbed, you can drop off the main poles, and then all you really need is a work train with a cement mixer on it and some tools, and you're set. Your biggest issue is keeping the tracks clear if other things are coming down the tracks. Most main tracks, they don't do construction near anymore because they're too busy, but laying in a new track, they'll oftentimes lay things down as they go. I hear ya. You're probably down slope from me. Well, winged him. Honestly, it's at least one thing that they've modeled correctly. Most of the time, if you wound any kind of wild animal with a firearm, they're going to take off running, because that's something they don't understand instinctively. If you hit it with something in close combat, that's a different thing. It understands, oh, things have claws and teeth, or just big and hit hard. But firearms usually freak out animals. Now, having so many unusually acting animals in the game is, not realistic, but hey, game. I do like how they do these retaining walls. These things are specifically here to catch snow, so that snow doesn't get too heavy on the tracks. Even in winter, a train can blow through smaller drifts of snow without trouble. For a larger one, you can literally mount the snowplow on the front of a train, put something like that on the front of a diesel electric. It'll be powered by the train itself, and it'll plow through just about any kind of snowbank you find, unless that snowbank is really super tall. Now, I'm going to talk a little game design. I kind of like how they do the transitions here between zones. I mean, they're basically on a hilly or mountainous island, and so you have, you know, the flat areas where people are going to try to set up things. You have flat areas by the coast where they set the canning facility. They set up, you know, they set up other docks. They move the ice fishing out, which tells you they've been there for a while and they know about how far out they can go normally. Ice fishing is always interesting. And I find it actually really interesting how the first people started ice fishing. But when you look at it, the ice fishing is actually probably a better setup than a lot. I mean, it's not like you catch fish quickly, but you can catch fish. And usually ice fishing works a little bit better than regular fishing because most of the fish, they're not getting nearly as much extra food from the surface because, you know, thick block of ice. You chop a hole in there, you put some bait down there, you're much more likely to get something in the winter where they're probably torporish and wanting more food. Coal, wood. I don't have the revolver yet, so I'm gonna
What have we here?
stay away from the revolver ammunition. There's a wilderness kitchen. Windbreaker's not going to help me very much. Scrawled message. Do I have? I do not. But now I do. Okay. Might look for that on the way out of here. Now, starting a fire with a fire striker is kind of interesting because I'll tell you, it ain't easy. I have a couple I've practiced with, and even after practice, it's not all that great. But now I have some time. Revolver cartridge. If they ever got trading in the game, that would be great. Well, first I'd have to have NPCs in survival mode. I mean, they have NPCs when you're playing this game in story mode, but that's a bit different. Drink up. Now what we'll do cooking skill. Now, going about and reading
Feels
books.
like night is coming.
In all honesty, I don't know how good of an idea that would be. Although at the same time, part of the reason I'd be reading it is not because I'm trying to necessarily learn a whole lot, but I'm trying to pass time without kind of going stir crazy, which is really kind of what cabin fever really is. You're not so much sitting there going, oh, well, I've been stuck in a cabin for 4 days, so I'm obviously going insane. It's more, I'm stuck in a cabin for 4 days, not doing anything. When you don't do anything, that's kind of when this kind of stuff kicks in. Get some more water. The heck? 1 hour to melt snow. 1 hour to boil it. Did I? Oh, I put it at 3. I'll keep 1. Let's see, what can we make? We'll get some of this tomato soup. We'll get some pork and beans. We'll settle down for the night. Maybe something else. Now, eating food right off of the fire, drinking water right after it's been boiled. Honestly, you're not ever going to do that. You need to let it cool down. At least in this case, I'm not going to cause a big stink about it simply because there's enough abstraction in this that I'm not going to complain. Now, I've talked about the bedroll before and why you'd use one, and what it actually is. I mean, this just looks like it's a nice sleeping bag, but it doesn't seem to do anything else. Whereas most bedrolls are in fact more of a cover cloth along with some kind of blanket or sleeping bag that you use to keep both warm and off of the ground. That actually seems pretty clear. We'll follow the train tracks. Keep an eye out. Now, if I was walking down this, I'd see not a lot. I'd see that up there and wonder if maybe I could go up there and find something. but all I see is, you know, ice. I'd have to probably go around or take a chance cutting across. Would I take a chance cutting across? I don't know, because there's nothing here to indicate that anybody thought that this place was safe to walk on. Whereas, like when we were at Mystery Lake, you see the two of them. Lovely. I thought I went low, but that's just plain weird. I'm sure I hit that one. Don't know if I'm going to find a reloading bench, but I might as well pick these up just in case. I have some revolver ammo I could take apart for gunpowder. Technically, I can't use the bullets because they'd be the wrong size, even if they were the same caliber, which the 303 and the 357 are not the same size. And even if they were the same diameter, generally a rifle bullet is a lot longer and carries a lot more weight. If you've ever seen a 22 long rifle round and then a 223 Remington or 5.56, for those of you who pay attention to military stuff, they're going to be about the same diameter. The 5.56 is about triple the length, and so I think it's about 150. I don't remember. I'd have to look at the weights, and it also depends on what kind of load you have. Just because you have twice the length, it doesn't mean it's going to be twice the weight, because these things are conical, and then they might also have what's called a boat tail. Generally, when you think about a bullet, you think about it rounded off on one side and flat on the back. But a lot of rifle ammunition is what they call boat-tailed, where it's rounded off on the top, but when you get to the back, instead of a square, it's actually near the end. It kind of angles back in, makes it more aerodynamic, allows it to fly farther. Which you generally don't worry about on pistols, but you do worry about on rifles. Might as well put the rest of the ammo in. And that reminds me of, I don't know, I guess it's a habit you get when you play first-person shooters. You're always going to have that point in time where it's like, you fired like 10 shots and you're like, okay, I'm going to reload, because the game just keeps track of how many rounds you're carrying, not how many magazines you have, how many full magazines, how many partial magazines. Generally speaking, you don't switch to a new magazine until, depending on who you ask, I generally hear that like 2/3 is like the beginning of, okay, you can actually swap out your magazine now. Now, with a bolt-action rifle like this, I'm not actually, swapping out. I'm just putting new rounds in. So if I'm, 3 rounds down, I just put 3 rounds in the top. If I was 5 rounds down, pull out the stripper clip, 5 rounds in. Now I saw that hunting blind, so I'm going to go take a look at that. And there's a bunch of cattails right here in front of me. which, you know, is something I would be picking up. I've been reading about cattails and how people use them, and it seems like, and this is just, you know, just some interesting information. It's kind of like celery. You're not going to taste much, but it will keep you chewing, and it will get, you know, stuff in your, it will get something in your system, help you hold off feeling hungry. Let's see, some cedar firewood, some more cedar firewood. Let's see what's in here first. Dog food, orange soda, no rounds. Alright, keep going. And we're walking straight into the wind. I do appreciate the fact that they do have, you know, directional movement on the grasses here, so that you can tell, oh, hey, yeah, I actually am walking into the wind, and that's why I've slowed down so much, as opposed to, oh, I'm horribly, yeah, I'm not horribly, but, and before I forget, I should check to see where I am. Now, the surveying that I'm doing right now is somewhat inaccurate. It wouldn't really be that, you know, that accurate. Now, if you already had a map and you're using it to note things, then that wouldn't be too hard, because now you have things that you can use to kind of figure out where you are in relation to two of them. The one issue is that generally you need a good compass. In most situations, what you do is you stop. You go, okay, that's the tip of that mountain there. I will line up with that and find out what its bearing is. Then I will turn and I will look for something else, and maybe that peak, or I can't see it now, but oh no, there it is. I can see the signal tower. The signal tower is on the map. You mark off of the signal tower. Now you've got 2 points and lines coming through them, so you intersect them, and you'll have a fairly good idea where you are. In this specific case, I'm almost to what amounts to a train tunnel, which would be fairly obvious on most maps. I wouldn't probably need to actually take any kind of bearings here. But when you're out, you really need to know how to orient, and what I've told you is how you do it. What I haven't said is how hard it actually is to do without a bunch of practice and probably some training. I do know some people who have learned to orient on their own, but it's not exactly easy. Over there. And it's just about noon. I should be able to keep going. Now, this is one of those interesting things in when you're trying to figure out, you know, just how far you can go. You know? And a lot of it is based off of, well, how much energy do you have? Do you know when your next, do you know where your next rest point's going to be? If you do you have any idea how far you have to go? Now, because I've played this game before, I have a pretty good idea about how long it will take for me to get to certain places. I have been wrong, and last time I was playing this just on a lark, I died really quickly because I was trying something and ended up just wandering about in the snow because I timed everything wrong. And because I made a mistake and doubled down instead of stepping back and trying to go in a different way. Now, for a lot of this, when you're going around, the most important thing is knowing what you're dealing with. Knowing that, oh, hey, yeah, that's burdock root, and that's edible. Or, hey, you know, I can take those pine needles and turn them into a tea. Or, yes, I can. This is a funny one. There is a layer in wood that you can eat. You can't eat all of it. You can't digest the cellulose. But there is a section in the fat wood that you can trim out and eat. You can have to do it kind of slowly, and you have to do it kind of thinly. Or you can I'm not sure where I need to be to do that, so I'm going to get out of here instead. And that's probably another thing you're probably going to have to do. Figure out what your actual limits are and pay good attention to them. Most people die in survival because they basically bite off more than they can chew. They think, oh, well, I can handle this, no problem. And head out and do things that would normally be dumb to do, and those are ptarmigan. Are you gonna be? No. Oh, well, they noticed their friend died.
I think I can use this.
Now, this game has an interesting mechanic where you can you start smelling. Where, you know, if you pick up anything that's, well, not that's an animal would eat, and the carnivores in the area will start smelling it on you. It's kind of interesting. I don't know how much that's another one of those ones where it's like, I don't know if they'd actually do that or not. but it wouldn't. It's not completely unreasonable to think that that might happen. Can I Skyrim my way down? Well, I'm kind of stuck Skyriming now. Yes, I believe I can. Yeah, let's get out of here. There are a lot of wolves out, but there's going to be wolves in the train yard too. It's not getting dark yet. Still smell a little bit. But I seem to be moving all right. Maybe I'll find something a bit better for cooking. Now, if I were in a survival situation walking down this train track, I'd be a little worried. Well, I'd have already been a little worried because there are derailed trains. Generally speaking, anybody uses it, they will clear that derailing as quickly as possible. But when you start seeing, like, that thing should have a power line going to it, which means they've fallen at some point. That tree is well in the way of anything that was trying to be go down here. Means this thing is not used anymore. At best, it just means I gotta go farther. You know, at worst, it might mean I'm going to some place that isn't habitated anymore, depending upon which direction I'm going. Generally speaking, if there is habitation, they will try to at least keep some amount of clearness on the train lines. I've never seen a train line that, even though you almost never see it used, be so overgrown or blocked that you can't go down it. I've seen several that it's like, oh well, yeah, look at the weeds growing around it. Nobody's been down that thing in ages, but that's just nobody's been down it in ages. But there's nothing blocking the track or anything, and quite honestly, weeds and the like don't block you when you're moving. They just are high and can be annoying. Well, if you're using it on a regular basis, you generally won't find weeds near it. They will send crews out to clear it. Snowdrifts like this across tracks wouldn't worry me. Where are you? Now, if I had a base nearby, I'd have probably grabbed that wolf and tried to turn it into something. No, doesn't look like there's any easy way up for me there, which means I gotta go down. Now, would I try to climb this in better circumstances? Maybe. But right now, I can't go over anything that's more than ankle high in this game, which is, I think, my one big complaint about traversal in this game. You can come up to something that just looks like, it's a tall branch, but you'll get stuck by it when you're just like, wait, I just got to lift my feet up higher. I understand kind of why they did what they did, but there are times it just feels really frustrating where you're like, Dude, my arthritic grandma could have walked over that. Why am I getting stuck by it? Yeah. But again, sometimes it's either they want it to happen because it's a game, or it's happening because it's a game and it's unintended. Um, Not sure which it is in this case. I don't know if anybody's ever asked about it on like an AMA and gotten an actual answer. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the way it is. Now I had to. Now I had to make a. I had to take an alternate route because everything was blocked off. But I went for okay. I need to get back to the tracks as soon as possible. Generally speaking, that's the way you should be thinking when you're traveling. You're thinking about okay, what is my not shortest route, but my most defined route, one I can most easily follow. I know some people are like, oh, you should be doing the shortest one. You should only be doing the shortest one if you're not going to get lost while doing it. And if you don't know how to orient well, then it's just it may take you longer, but you're less likely to get lost. And if you get lost, it's going to take you way longer. Now, I know some people who would actually be like, yep, I'll find my way, no problem, and I'd believe them. But those people are few and far between. Most people will say, oh, I won't get lost, and they'll get lost real quickly. I'm probably in that, oh yeah, I'd get lost real quickly set. I understand what I'd be doing, but unless it's been someplace I've already been, no, I'd probably get lost. Now, if it's a route that I'd taken before, more than once or twice, I probably would be willing to try it, because for whatever reason, my brain's pretty good at keeping track of where I'm going, and once I've done it a few times, I generally catch back on and go, okay, I know where I am now. There are exceptions to that, but more often than not, I do at least have a general idea about where I'm going after just a few runs.
That'll come in handy.
That includes in games. I know there are some people that have trouble with maps when they're playing games. I generally don't. Unless as I was saying, unless damn you. You're gonna turn around and chase me soon, aren't you? Oh, a jam. I'm glad I did that.
I could use this.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing. Clearing a jam. They actually have jams in this game, which is more realistic than a lot. And at least with the condition, I can say that, you know, at 0% it shouldn't break. But at 0%, what it really is it's unable to fire because it's too gummed up and jammed up. I'm assuming you're using old kind of corroded ammunition then. Mostly because, oh jeez, you know what? I'm gonna skin one of you guys. Seriously, I just shot at you. And hit you too. Seriously, it's all... Oh, I don't have very many. But still... I'm starting to run low here. All right. Okay, that's on the way out of town. I'll take a look for that on my way out. Okay. That was a fun time. So now, I'm going to sit down, take care of myself, and start looking around. Bandage on it. That. And that's another round lost. All right, let's see what we got here. 47%. Okay. Now, for right now, I'm going to do a little cleaning. Going to do a little repair work, get some sleep, and then the next day I will go and search this place, figure out what I can use here.
That guy who drank his own pee doesn't seem so crazy right now.
Yeah, Mark, we understand. Let's eat a few things here. First, let's drink. Let's see, what's... should finish that one off. Don't need that anymore. I am a little annoyed with the jam rate of that thing, if only because it's actually a lot harder to jam something that's a bolt action than it is, an automatic or something similar. If the extractors are bent or something like that, you might have a failure to feed, but it's pretty positive when you do when you have a feed issue, when you're dealing with a bolt action. You can go, okay, this is the problem. I take an extra second to make sure everything pops out and clear. Okay, the rifle is now repaired, and that firearm cleaning kit's ruined. My blades are sharp enough for the time being, and it is dark as heck. I'm going to light a match. I will hit the hay, and I'll see you guys in the morning. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, and thank you for joining me. Like and subscribe, all that fun jazz if you like the show. Thanks a lot, and bye.